you're always posting great stuff on Facebook about, upcoming camps and
Yeah,
the Freddie Fowler story was a good one.
yeah.
And then there was another photo that popped up. It was you and Frank Caliendo, and I
Oh
believe
yeah,
there was
yeah. I love
something
talking
about
about this. Yeah,
how you became friends. Like,
yeah.
what's the story behind that?
So my one of my closest friends was a head coach uh, at Fairleigh Dickinson a few years back when they upset Purdue in the first round of the NCAA tournament. It was a historic upset. So his name's Tobin Anderson. I worked for Tobin when he was the head coach at Clarkson. That was one of my first assistant coaching jobs. I was his top assistant. We have remained very close friends. So I was in his wedding, he was in my wedding. We talk every single day. So when Tobin's team at FDU pulled off this upset, Frank is a huge college basketball fan. So immediately he sent out a direct message over Twitter to Tobin, and Tobin, before that, was a huge fan of Frank's, right, and his impressions and his personality, right. So they hit it off, right. And Frank is not a guy that is a big phone guy, but he texts all the time. So um, where I came into play is the Final Four that year happened to be out in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where Frank lives, just outside Phoenix. Um, so Tobin and I were hanging out there, and he's like, "Listen, Frank wants me to come over to the house. I don't want to go by myself. Do you mind coming with me?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." So he lives in it. Obviously, you can imagine he lives in a great house. He lives right down the street from the GM of the Arizona Cardinals, whatever. So we go out there, and I meet the guy, and we hit it off. And he happened to be having a show at the Turning Stone Casino
Oh.
3-4 weeks right after I met him. And my buddy and his wife were going to the show, and he's like, well, why don't you? He goes, here's my number, call me. He goes, I don't know anybody in Syracuse, and let's get together and have lunch. So I go out, have lunch with him. He leaves me seats to the show, and my buddy had paid like $250 for his seat. And wouldn't you know, I got my seats for free, and they were right next to my buddy and his wife, just happenstance, right? So, and then Frank had us into the green room afterwards, and we just literally hit it off. And then we have kept in touch. I mean, I don't think there's been a week that's gone by where we haven't talked. And we just talk college hoops, and he follows my team. So I got him going. I said, you're a big shot, and you know all these famous people. You need a Division III guy. So I'm going to be your D3 guy. So I sent him a bunch of gear, and he wears
Nice.
it. And then he had a couple shows down in DC where my sister and brother-in-law live. I went down, saw him for 2 straight nights down there. And yeah, I wouldn't tell you we're best buds, but we certainly talk at least once a week. And now the basketball's starting, college basketball, he'll start. We're on a 3-hour time difference, which is great because when I get home from practice, he's still up. So we text, because I'll watch late night games and we'll text during those. And little known fact about him, he's a really, really exceptional table tennis player, Frank.
Hmm.
So loves ping pong. Yeah. So he's really good. Um, but he's a really, really funny guy. He has a great family guy. His son and his daughter are great people. His wife's a great person. So it's kind of fun that him and I have hit it off like that.